got the support post removed, and we're working on figuring out what's going on underneath the headliner here. So this is where what you call project creep, where it starts to expand into something more than you thought it was going to be. But we had an idea that was going to happen, so that's all right. It's all part of the fun.
All right, so let's get on this project again.
Yeah, because if we're talking about it, we can't be working on it, right?
Yeah.
Somebody said that in the comments. So somebody said, hey, talking about it's not going to get it done. And we're all about getting it done. So let's get going.
Welcome back to another exciting and thrill-filled adventure with DIY Nautical Dream. Okay, maybe that was a little over the top. Anyways, we'll go ahead and get our next video started.
Alright, so we're back. This week we're planning to remove a large opening hatch removal.
Yep, gotta get that out. We suspect it's leaking, and we're pretty confident that that's going to be true. And also the plastic on that large opening hatch is all crazed, and it just has all those little micro cracks that are inside it, and it just looks horrible. So we'll go ahead and work on getting that removed. It's going to be tough because we got to remove the teak trim ring on the inside, and we got to be careful so we know how it all goes back together as well. So it'll be a project.
And we are planning to remove the mainsail so we can order a new one.
Yep, so we know the mainsail was exposed to the elements for who knows how many years. This boat been sitting on the hard for about 6 to 8 years, and the stack pack that the sail is supposed to be enclosed in and protected from the weather was open. The seams were all torn apart, and so we don't know how long that sail's been sitting there exposed to the elements. So we're going to remove it, and we're going to measure for a new one. So that's a big project. We won't be able to close that out, but we'll at least be able to get it removed and start taking measurements.
Alright, and also we're thinking about getting new lighting.
Yeah, so the overhead lighting in this boat is just really poor, and so we want to get better lighting in here so that we can actually see what we're doing at nighttime, or if it's getting dark and
It's very dark.
Yeah, the lights, you turn them on and it actually gets darker inside. So we want to replace those. We don't see anything on the market that appeals to us, so we don't know if there's something out there ready-made that we can buy, or we have to make something. So for now, we're just going to start looking at ideas. We're going to take some of these down, take some measurements, and see what we can come up with. Something that hopefully is already on the market, and we'll look around at the boat shows, online catalogs, local boat stores, stuff like that, and see what we can find. There's got to be something out there. Anyway, so that's just something that's starting to come up on our minds, and we want to look into options.
Yeah, there's too much in our lists. that we want to do in this boat, but just putting all the list stressing him out.
I like stress, so it doesn't bother me so much. Just stress is what drives me. So.
But we're working on it slowly. So.
Yeah. So.
At least we're making progress.
That's our hope for this weekend, is to get them at least started and figure out where we need to go next.
All right, so let's get on this project begin.
Yeah, because if we're talking about it, we can't be working on it, right?
Yeah.
Somebody said that in the comments. So somebody said, hey, talking about it's not going to get it done, and we're all about getting it done. So let's get going.
So this is the teak trim ring we need to remove. This is going to expose the large opening hatch screws, I hope, or somehow tell us how to remove it from the boat. We'll see. Okay, so we still have a leak here that obviously we haven't repaired this yet, but I have been taping and trying to mask off areas on the outside of the deck to try and decide, trying to troubleshoot where the leaks might be at. So if you see here, you know, obviously there's water coming in somewhere on this side of the boat, and then it's dripping down from here. So it's not, well, it's not going to be easy to find, but anyways, it's obviously up here somewhere. And then all along through here, I already know that we're gonna pull all these windows out and replace this plywood here, the teak plywood. I already have that, and then we're gonna rebed all these windows. So yeah, just have to figure out where it's coming in at, but we definitely know it's got to be on this side of the boat here somewhere. So anyways, but yeah, this is all, the wood all up in here is all rotted, so, but it looks like it's, you know, it could be this hatch right here leaking too, so, and just trav on the back. So maybe that is the culprit. But either way, we know that it's here somewhere, so we'll find it.
All right, here we are. We're having our first breakfast on the boat. We got our coffee, our orange juice, and she likes her hot chocolate. We have a nice breakfast baby cooked for us while we're on the boat. So, yeah, we're getting there though. We're making some pretty good progress. Learned a lot of things along the way, and we're really happy with the purchase we made. And we really think it's a beautiful boat. It's got a long ways to go to bring it back to its complete beauty, but yeah, we've made a lot of progress. So what do you think? Can you believe that? This girl is speechless.
I am.
Camera shy?
No.
Miss Selfie here is camera shy. Can you believe that? Can't get her to talk?
I have nothing to say.
All right, so so what we're doing is basically we'll collect video footage and picture footage from throughout our 7 days it takes us to complete a week. Then we're going to kind of compile that into a video and edit it and try and make it look nice for everybody. But we're new at all this, so we'll get there. It takes us a little while to figure all this stuff out, but yeah, we're gonna go ahead and have some breakfast. I'll take you on a real quick walk through the boat, kind of show you where we're at right now, and what we've got done and what we plan on doing the next couple of weeks. So I'll walk you through the boat. And so this is of course where we're having breakfast here, and you can see there's lots of beautiful wood right behind my beautiful wife.
You're right.
Anyways, so here we are. We got lots of jobs to do. We got many more jobs to add. We have some that are in work, and we have quite a few that are completed. So we're learning a lot about the boat as we go. There's nobody here that says, hey, here's how all this works. Figure this out. No, we're learning it all on our own. So we have this nice little wine cabinet here. We're not going to use that. I don't know what we'll do with that space, but And they got a nice TV and stuff here. This is the toolbox and workbench area. So forward here is forward shower, washer, and dryer. Have not been able to get this to work. Not sure what's going on with that, but at least clean that. Here's the forward guest cabin, and this looks a lot better than it did the day we bought it. It's got a lot of work we're gonna do in it still. Lots of updating with all the lighting and just make it a lot nicer, but it's very nice already. We're just gonna make it and put our touch on it, you know. Here's forward head. It's actually pretty nice, you know, does the job. Not nothing exciting there. And then walking aft, here's the companionway to come in, and this is the garage. This is kind of like where I store everything, and come with a lot of books and manuals, and I guess if I wanted to read I could figure out quite a bit, but we're just doing trial and error. Breaker panel area. There's access in here to the engine, which is a Yanmar, and then the generator would be inside this panel right here. So, and then fuel filtration system right there. Nice little nav station here. It's very outdated. You know, I'm not sure what most of this does, but we'll get into that later on down the road. I know what the VHF does, but there's a phone. Yeah, I don't know. It's very strange. So here's the galley area. Has a refrigerator, freezer, came with a coffee maker, has lots of nice storage areas in here. Really like that. I think that's very cool. But as you can see, all the port lights have leaked at some point or another. We have lots of headliner damage that we'll be fixing. Going to be replacing all the teak plywood here. It's got a nice galley sink area. Kitchen's actually pretty nice. And then we're walking back towards the aft cabin, and this is where we're doing lots of work right now. You can see that we've taken down all the teak paneling, pulled all the port lights out. Every one of them leaked really bad, and we've taken those home, and we're gonna have new lenses made for them, new seals, and then seal everything back together really nice, polish them up, and yeah, we'll get this area straightened out. It'll come back, it'll look really nice. Underneath here is where all the steering is, the autopilot steering, which is actually pretty nice. Inside here is the aft bathroom, shower, very cool looking sink. As you can tell, the lights in here don't work very well, and we're going to remove these port lights here as well, and replace that white plastic paneling with actual teak again, so it'll be nice. Back here we have access to the back of the engine, transmission, propeller shaft right here where it goes through the hull, the packing gland and all that stuff's in there. And then yeah, in here is pretty cool. We have access in here to the engine, the Yanmar, and then the diesel generator, water heater, water maker, steering cables, water pump. There's access to the propeller shaft, packing gland area from a different angle. So yeah, and yeah, we have lots to figure out about this boat, that's for sure. But would have been nice if somebody could have showed us how everything worked, but we're gonna figure it out. It's not our first boat, so. But yeah. Yeah, so pretty cool. Anyways, that will conclude the tour for now, but that's what we got going on. Pretty nice. We're gonna go ahead and have some breakfast now. Any last words? Well, I believe it's time to quit putting this off and dig in and find out what's going on up underneath this headliner. It's a question that's been on our minds for a while since we looked at this boat, even before we purchased it. And to tell you the truth, I hope it's not as bad as I think it's going to be, but we'll see.
It could be worse. It could be a disaster waiting to happen. Who knows? But we got to get in there and get figuring it out, because looking at it and thinking about it, it's not going to get it done anymore. So we're opening up this vinyl, kind of separating it a little bit, and I got a flashlight here taking a look inside, and it's starting to look kind of bad in there. It's definitely been getting wet. The plywood has been getting wet for a long time. It's definitely rotted. It's soft. The plywood's actually delaminating in many spots. So I'm taking some measurements, trying to figure out how long and how wide it's going to be, make a new piece to replace it, and how thick the plywood is. And it looks like it's screwed up into the actual structure of the hull, the cabin top, the fiberglass. And here's a look looking at the vinyl split apart like that, and it just looks crazy bad. I don't know. This is going to be a big project. I have a feeling that we're getting in over our heads really quick right here, but you know, it's got to get done. We're DIY. We're not going to pay somebody to do this for us. We're going to figure it out. But needless to say, it does look a little bit intimidating to me. This is going to be a big bite trying to figure this out. And we might struggle a little bit, but hopefully it's not as bad as it looks. So we're going to have to dig in and see what we got going on here. I want to get the glass laid around all these port light cutouts. Get all that done. And I'll pull the forward hatch, because remember I broke this last week trying to pull it out on the forward hatch up there. And then I'll remove the hatch, figure out what's going on with all that, and see if I can get that wood frame out of there. And then one of the first steps to removing this teak trim ring around the large opening hatch is to drill out the teak plugs or bungs, and that'll expose the screw heads, and then we'll just hook up the drill motor or a screw gun and back them out. And then hopefully this teak trim ring will come right off. So once the screws are out, I pulled on the teak trim ring and pulled as hard as I could. In fact, I hung off of it, and it even supported my own weight for a little while. That didn't even work. It wasn't coming down. Could not figure out what the deal was. So I thought maybe I forgot to drill out some plugs and some screws weren't exposed. Nope, that wasn't it either. So I pulled on it harder, and it started to move a little bit. So I pulled as hard as I could and even kind of bounced on it while I was hanging from it. Snap. The teak broke, and the rest of the trim ring did not come out. Man, so frustrating. Hey baby, this is harder than I thought. Will you help me please?
Of course, honey.
All right, thank you. Couldn't do without you, you know that.
You're welcome.
So the new plan is to remove these screws holding down the frame of the large opening hatch, and we're hoping that by taking those screws out that it'll release the teak trim ring from the inside. That's our hope, or it'll at least give us some insight as to what's holding this thing down so tight. So we've been struggling to get this thing free for a while now. We've got the screws out and it's not budging. Can you tell what's holding this thing down? Why we're struggling?
5200.
Yep, you guessed it. Well, we've been down this path before. We know what the favorite tools are to deal with 5200. Hammer, scraper, and the multi-tool. That seems to be what works best around here. Well, now with the large opening hatch and the frame and the screws and all that removed, we struggled with that for a little while, but we got that off. We didn't do too much major damage to the gel coat. We're getting a little better at this now, so not much rework's going to be involved in putting that back together and making it look nice. But the problem we're finding again, we realize now what's holding this teak trim ring in. And yep, you guessed it, 5200 again. So I think this whole boat was built and is holding itself together with 5200. So we're going to get this out. We'll cut it loose all around the edges and pull it out, and eventually it'll come free, just like everything else does. Okay, now with the teak trim ring removed, we can clearly see that this large opening hatch has been leaking, and leaking a lot. You can tell by the signs of looking at the plywood. You can see how it's delaminated and it's ruffled up, and that just means moisture's been sinking in and absorbing in between the layers of the plywood and causing it to separate from itself. So this is going to have to be dealt with, but we suspected this is where one of the areas where the large leaks were coming from, and we think it was traveling all the way back into the galley area. But this is a good sign that we found at least one of the large leaks in this boat. So we'll go ahead and take the large opening hatch home and see if we can rebuild it. I'd like to try and take it apart cut new acrylic for it and seal it all back together, put a new seal in there, and use new sealant to hold the new lens in. And hopefully we can be able to save this, because I would not want to try and buy a whole bunch of new ones of these for the boat. We have quite a few we'd have to replace. But we'll take some measurements just in case, and if we have to, we'll order some new ones. So we went ahead and removed one of the overhead lights out of the boat here to take a look at it, see how it's made. What do you think? You think this is high quality for a 52-foot sailboat? This is the best they could come up with back in the day. Well, we should be able to do better than these. These are not very good. I don't like them at all. They put out meager amounts of light. In fact, when you turn it on, it actually gets darker inside. So, no, just kidding. But yeah, these things are garbage. They're going. And we got 4 of them here. So, 4 of them in the main salon area. There's one there and one there. So, oh yeah. And this here, this is also gonna go. I don't know who thought that was a good idea, but I'm not liking it. So those are gonna go also. And yeah, so we got that one out. Got the support post removed, and we're working on figuring out what's going on underneath the headliner here. So this is where what you call project creep, where it starts to expand into something more than you thought it was gonna be. But we had an idea that was going to happen, so that's all right. It's all part of the fun. Some of the other work I want to do today is I want to get this plywood up here removed. You can see that it's screwed into the lower side of the deck. And yeah, I want to get this removed. It's like 6 inches wide and ½ inch thick. So plan is to get this removed today. And we'd like to get this up here removed and just keep getting that, make a little bit of progress on that as well. We can see the plywood up in here is it's not getting wet anymore, so we don't have to worry about that. We know where the leak was. It was just coming around this hatch here, so we got that figured out. But now we just got to get the plywood that's in there out, and then I'm hoping to get it out in a piece where I can use it as a template. If not, I got measurements. But yeah, so yeah, they just have strips of plywood running around here. The whole ceiling is not covered with plywood and then vinyl, so it shouldn't be too hard. It's just gonna be slow and steady progress. But yeah, we don't have any more moisture coming in, so that's a good thing. We'll take care of it. But yeah, so when we put the new stuff back on, I'll screw it in place back in the old original screw holes, and then we're also going to apply a layer of epoxy, a little bit of thickened epoxy on the back side of it as well when we put it up against the hull. So it'll definitely stay there, and it's going to be coated with, we'll add some epoxy on it so it won't get any moisture in it anymore as well. So yeah, we'll get there. With the vinyl pulled away, we're taking a closer look at some of this wood around the large opening hatch. And you can tell by the dark areas where it's still damp and wet, and this wood has a smell of its own. It's been rotting and soaking in water for who knows how long. So this has been an ongoing problem on this boat for quite a while. Nobody's done anything about it. It's time we take care of this and figure out how we're going to fix it and make it right. This is not going to be easy. This is getting to be one of those things where it's a lot bigger than I was expecting it to be. I'm trying really hard to get this out in one piece, because we would like to be able to use it for a template. So wish us luck on that one. I hope it will be able to come out in one piece. That's a big priority right now. This area here around the large opening hatch, I was really hoping to avoid opening any more of the vinyl going forward than I needed to, just because I don't know how this stuff's going to go back together. I don't know if it's going to be brittle, if it's going to stretch or what, but I was really trying to avoid opening this section here, but it looks like I'm going to have to do it anyways in order to get access to get that large piece of plywood out that's the cutout for the opening hatch. Man, don't want to have to do it, but here we go. Okay, so we went ahead and opened it up, and what a mess. More disaster, more wood, more wet wood, more things we didn't want to see. We're just going to have to pretend we didn't see these for right now. We got to focus on that hatch area first. If you're wondering why we got more pictures than video in this case, is because I'm really concerned about reassembly, and so I like to have the pictures to go back to for reference rather than looking at a video. So in this case we took more pictures than we did video, but we'll try to do a little bit more video going forward. But it's really for the reassembly process and taking measurements and locating things. It's a lot easier to go back thumbing through pictures than it is to try and scan through videos. So that's why there's more pictures than videos right now. Well, we're in luck. We were able to get that large plywood piece out in one piece, and I'll tell you, it is barely in one piece. This thing was flaking off and falling apart, and layers were coming off, and it smells nasty, and it's still very wet and very flimsy. It does not support its own weight very well. So we'll take this home, dry it out, and we're going to try and use this as a template to cut out an exact replica to reinstall. We'll locate the holes in the same place and everything, and hopefully everything will be plug and play. One of the other things we wanted to get done this trip to the boat was to get the dinghy removed off of the aft transom area, because that's where we're going to be boarding on and off the boat from now on. It's coming up the aft transom. It's a lot easier, and with the dinghy out of the way, it makes it safer. We don't have to worry about trying to duck or crawl under it. So we took that home, and we also removed the outboard off of the mount that's on the stainless steel arch back there to bring the outboard motor home, see if it runs, check it out, clean it up, whatever we need to do to get it in good running order. One of the things we've been wanting to do since early on after the purchase of this boat was to remove the mainsail. We really wanted to get it off of this boat and take a look at it, see what kind of condition it's in, see if it's even salvageable, see if it's good as a backup sail, or is it totally shot, and take measurements off of it to be able to place an order for a new sail, a custom sail. And so that's what we decided to do. We pulled it off. My gosh, this sail is very heavy. It's very stiff and awkward to get off, and it's been sitting here for a really long time. It looks like the birds have been making a nest in there, and all kinds of shells and weird things have been tucked away inside there. But yeah, clearly this sail's in rough shape. I'm no expert. We don't know if it's good or not, but we're taking it off. We're going to have a new one made. The other reason we wanted to get it off is just to see what kind of condition all the rigging and attach points are for the mainsail, and see how it's all attached onto the boom and what the reefing system's like and all that. So it was a good thing to get it off of there and take a look at it. Once we got it off, we quickly realized how big this thing is. We laid it out on the parking area there by the boat, and it's huge. It's very big, and it's really super heavy, and it's got a couple tears in it, so it was a good idea. We went ahead and removed it. I'm not sure if it's repairable or not. We'll just go ahead and take it home, put it in storage for now. Now with the mainsail out of the way, we quickly got to work taking measurements and also inspecting the stack pack and looking to see how that's attached to the boom and getting future ideas for possibly building a new one. It's in pretty bad shape, and it's not salvageable. It can't be saved. The material on it tears really easy, and it's really badly rotted. So that's just the way it is, and these things age over time. They're not made to last forever. But yeah, so with the mainsail off, we got our measurements that we needed to send those into Precision Sails, and that's what we'll do soon in the future. And we'll place an order with them to have a new sail made. But yeah, taking a look at that mainsail, the thing is huge and it's very heavy. So I don't think we'll be able to keep this and use it as a spare, but we'll keep it for now just for measurements and attach points, locations, battens, all those sort of things that we may be able to use off of here or keep as spares, all the sliders, the reefing points and things like that. So at one time it looked like it was a pretty good sail, but its days are over, so we'll take it and store it for now. Okay, transitioning back to the aft cabin port light project. We got to try and wrap that up today. If I get all this done today, that'll be great. I have a through hole I'd like to add, replace up front, but we'll see how it goes. Right now I just want to keep moving on this back aft cabin here because I want to get to the point where I can reinstall the windows or port lights back in and reinstall the teak and find out what we're going to do about the vinyl here. Either we're going to be able to save it and use it again, or put some new stuff in here. So, but yeah, we're getting there. It's just very slow, but we'll make some progress. Slow but steady. Here's the funny thing about this.
I don't really know what I'm doing here, but what we did is took some silica, some epoxy, and mixed it all together. First time ever doing this, and this is the consistency I come up with. And yeah, I don't know, maybe I need to make it a little bit thicker, I'm not sure. Seems like it's going to run right back out of the hole here. So now I have this mixed up, and that's the consistency we're looking for right there. So I mix this with just resin only, and now I'll be adding the hardener to it. And then once the hardener gets added to it, then that's when it's time to get going. And once we have it all mixed up with the hardener, then I'm going to pour it into this bag here. Zip this shut, cut just the tip out of the corner of the bag, and we'll just start trying this out, see how it works out. Like I said, I've never done this before, so we're gonna go. Don't worry, we're gonna make a mess. No doubt about that. If you came here to see a mess, you will see one. All right, let's see how it goes. So my plan was to mix up some thickened epoxy and get it into this freezer bag, and then I was going to inject it into the opened up holes for the port light mounts, and I was going to fill those holes with the thickened epoxy, kind of like how Teal does on Onboard Lifestyle. If you ever watch him, he makes it look really easy. It's messy. I don't know how he does it so clean, but it's a messy job. We'll get her done. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we'll let that set up and see what it turns out like. That's the concept. We're going to try and do better on the next ones here. We got 4 more to try. Well, after our messy attempt to fill in the screw holes with thickened epoxy, we want to go over the top of those with the extra layers of fiberglass just to thicken up the structure, and it'll give the screws a little bit more surface area to bite onto when we're putting the new screws in to mount the rebuilt port lights whenever we get those done. So it's all kind of putting the puzzle back together now, one step at a time, and everything has its share of processes. So right now we just want to get the fiberglass on, let that cure, and then we'll come back next time and hopefully locate some holes and be able to put some port lights in. But we're getting there, just a little bit at a time, and it's fun, it's a learning experience, and it's messy all at once. Who could ask for more? Okay, well, I got the fiberglass around all the port lights. Can't really see from here, but it's on there, and that was pretty messy. See, you can see it in there, and there, and that one was already done. So yeah, we got that. One of the things about working with fiberglass and epoxy resin is you got to have the right personal protective equipment and the right equipment to spread it and mix it and stir it, and all that sort of stuff really comes in handy. It's really nice to have all the right things. But I think this is something that we can actually enjoy doing down the road, and it is kind of fun, and we want to get better at it for sure. So we look forward to doing more of these projects on the boat and getting better at it as we go.
All right, so we're back, guys. We made it. We removed the large opening hatch, but we're struggling.
That thing kicked our butt, man.
Yay!
Yeah, what a struggle. Another fine example of where not to use 5200 on a boat. That hatch was held down with 5200, yet it was still leaking. So frustrating, because now we're starting to figure out that I think everything on this boat
It's
was
5200.
bonded together with 5200 seal. So yeah, when we got the hatch off, it was true that that hatch had been leaking, and I think that was a source of a lot of the trails of water that we were finding dripping down on top of the countertop in the galley over the refrigerator and freezer area that was leaving that dark brown stain. And now I think we know where that was coming from. So getting that off, we've noticed that all the plywood that was around that hatch opening is all wet and rotted and delaminated, and also we had to remove all that too. So we're at the stage now where, if you've ever heard the term, it's called project creep. That's where we're at. Everything is more than it seems, and we are finding that to be true. So everything is bigger than it really is. Everything takes longer than we expected, and we're prepared for it. We're settling in for a long project.
All right, and then we removed the old mainsail also, so now we can start thinking about ordering new one.
Well, we need to take it off. We had to take it off to be able to take the measurements, and we need to be able to measure the mast height and all the footing and everything else. We need to and take all those measurements and then turn that into the sail manufacturer. So
all right, thanks for watching, guys. Stay tuned to our next video, and if you are not subscribed yet, please subscribe down below. See you.
See you next time. Thanks for watching.
Bye.
Bye.
Now there's a nice looking shell. I'd keep that one.
And what's that?
My idea. Oh, we got a boat coming. It's this guy. Nice. Dang. 5 engines on the back. That was sweet.